with journalism statistically being one of the most, if not the most, elitist professions in this country, and actually year on year becoming less representative socially, what can be done about that? And if I can ask you a specific question about NME, for example, how many black or Asian journalists do you have working within NME? And with that figure, whatever it happens to be in mind, how does that affect your content and what you decide to review or cover?
Okay, well, going from the top down, I know what you mean about journalism as a profession generally, but I think mostly that relates to our national newsrooms, be they newspapers or television or radio, I suppose. I've never worked in any of those environments. I really don't quite understand how it is that there is this public schoolboy perpetuation there. I think there's an awful lot of kind of jobs for the boys and kind of alumni and all that sort of thing, but it's not anything that I've ever been part of. Certainly working on music magazines, you know, you're there by talent only. We on NME at the moment, we don't have any Asian journalists, but we did up until recently. A couple of people have moved on. I don't really think I have operated positive discrimination in the past in terms of.
And so, do you have any black journalists?
No, we don't have any black journalists on the magazine. No. I've operated positive discrimination in terms of kind of a male-female bias, because I think magazines can be certainly music magazines, quite a testosterone-fueled world, and it's not always easy for women to break into those environments. And I think you've just got to keep a check on that male-female bias in the office so it doesn't turn into an all-boys club. But in terms of black or Asian writers. I don't know. The people who work on NME kind of share a cultural affinity, so it certainly doesn't matter, the colour of your skin. People with different cultural backgrounds, do bring something to the paper. But like I say, up until recently, we have had Asian journalists. It just happens that at this moment we don't.
Okay. And the fact that you don't, for whatever period of time, as an editor, does that concern you in terms of your output and your potential readership? I mean, I suppose what I mean to say is, do you think there is a possibility that could have a negative effect on what you as a magazine decide to cover?
No, because I think we have enough of a network of people around us, and the people who work on NME are open-minded enough that it really wouldn't make any difference as far as I'm concerned. They're really, we are a broadly left-leaning and certainly tremendously progressive-minded bunch at NME. So, we don't tend to, we don't kind of follow social constraints, and we'll be out looking at anything as long as it ends up in a good time. I think what would concern me more is if for any long period of time that we ended up not having a more representative spread in terms of kind of cultural background, because, and it's not so much. I think it's as much about you'd end up losing an opportunity to inspire people. I think if somebody's from an Asian or a black cultural background and they see a byline from somebody who is clearly from the same background, I think that can be quite an inspirational thing, and I think that you could have a huge impact across the country with that. So it's not something that I'm kind of sat up at night worrying about, but it's an opportunity that is on my mind long term.